In today's video, I will show you the TANKE TB300 dual piston hydraulic brakes in more detail. I ordered a complete set, including brake discs, from AliExpress with my own money. The set cost approximately €45. I've divided the video into sections where you will see the disassembly of the mechanical disc brakes that originally came with my electric bike. Then I'll guide you throughout step-by-step installation, explain why I had to use a drill and a metal saw, and demonstrate how the bike brakes before and after the modification. You'll find a link to these brakes in the description. They came in various sets and colors, so there's something for everyone. Why I decided to change the brakes? If you watch my review of the popular and affordable duotts C29 bike, you might have learned that for its capabilities and speeds, the bike simply brakes very poorly. The factory brakes are just basic discs with cable-actuated calipers. Considering that the factory discs were also warped, I decided it was time to upgrade to something better. The manufacturer offers a hydraulic set, but it costs nearly €80. However, many people say that those brakes are also poor quality. That's why I started looking into other manufacturers. The most well-known ones are even more expensive. Meanwhile, I came across TANKE, which has pretty good reviews. The complete set of levers, calipers, new discs and mounting screws cost me just under €45. The TANKE TB300 are dual-piston hydraulic brakes designed for electric bikes, scooters and other equipment that requires strong braking power. It's an interesting option for those who were considering buying the Shimano MT200 at a similar price, but were looking for a solution already equipped with a brake sensor. The TANKE TB300 comes in various sets and colors. I chose the full blue set because it best matched my duotts C29. When purchasing the TB300, you can choose which side of the handlebar you want to control with which brake. I went with the traditional setup: left lever for the front, right for the rear. This is important because the seller also selects the length of the brake hose based on this. The hoses come pre-filled with mineral oil and sealed to prevent leakage. The TANKE TB300 is made of aluminum. The paint job is quite decent, but you can see some small scratches and imperfections. The set includes spare brake pads, shorter screws for the brake discs, longer ones for mounting the calipers, and a few extras. The set also includes an adapter with a 51 and 74 mm spacing. The levers are suitable for mounting on a 22.2 mm handlebar. The entire set lever, caliper, hose and oil weighs 283 grams. The hose lengths are 890 mm for the front and 1570 mm for the rear. Importantly, these brakes are designed for electric vehicles and are equipped with a brake sensor with 2-pin. Pay attention to the connection type in your e-bike, as some motors, for example various Bafang models, have a 3-pin connection. When the brake lever is pressed, the electric motor assist is immediately cut off. I started the installation by removing the front brake and disconnecting the cable. For convenience, I decided to remove the front wheel. The mineral oil hose is very stiff, so I began the installation by loosely fitting the brake lever onto the handlebar. The calipers come with an adapter. In the duotts C29, the manufacturer used a similar adapter, but it is flatter. Using it with the original screws makes them too short. Therefore, the front installation of the TANKE should be done without this adapter. I tried to use the factory, shorter screws, so I removed the excess washers, which are crucial for the precise final adjustment. I lightly tightened the brake levers onto the handlebar so that I could adjust them later to suit my position. Fortunately, e-bike manufacturers use different colored connectors for different components. The ones for the brakes are red. I had to disconnect more of them, so for peace of mind, I additionally marked another connector with electrical tape, but this turned out to be unnecessary. When connecting, pay attention to the arrows on both sides of the connectors. They make the connection process much easier and faster. When changing brake discs, Check if the manufacturer has marked the wheel rotation direction. While unscrewing the bolts holding the brake disc, I took the easy way out and used a screwdriver on a low setting. However, I don't recommend using a screwdriver to tighten the bolts or to unscrew them without first loosening them by hand, as you can easily strip the threads or the bolt head. The new disc is slightly thinner but has the same diameter. It is also trimmed on the edges, so it's not a perfect circle. After initially tightening the bolts, make sure that none of them are loose. Before putting the wheel back on, remove the factory brake pad cover. The new disc will go in place of that soon. Tighten the wheel, making sure it is not misaligned. In the duotts C29, the wheels have a diameter of 29 inches, so you need to be extra careful. After securing everything, I proceed to secure the cables. For the rear brakes, it's best to remove the entire wheel. In the case of an e-bike, it's sufficient to simply disconnect it to access the brake disc, which is an easier and quicker solution. To reach the bolt holding the rear wheel, I had to remove the derailleur. I loosened both bolts and washers but didn't remove them. Due to the torque and weight of the motor, the manufacturer used additional washers with tabs to better secure the wheel in the hub. It's helpful to tap the top and bottom of the wheel. This can be done by hand. This will loosen and release the wheel. This exposed the rear disc. The disassembly and installation process is the same as for the front wheel. I also noticed that one of the disc screws was stripped from the factory. After installing the disc, I proceed to remove the old caliper along with an adapter. I used the adapter from the TANKE set and mounted the new caliper. It is important not to press the brake levers during installation. The calipers are sealed and only fill with oil after the first press of the lever. If you are too hasty, you might accidentally spill the oil. I remove the zip ties holding the brake cable and replace them with new ones for the new brake hose. To access the old brake lever, I had to remove the grip as well as the throttle and cruise control module. However, it turned out that duotts had tightened the brake lever screw so much that I couldn't loosen it. The screw head was so soft that as soon as I applied more force, it immediately stripped. As a result, I had to move the shifter, phone charging port and, starting with a small metal drill bit, gradually drill throughout the screw. It held on quite tightly, but after a long struggle, it finally gave away. Next, I reconnected all the cables and secured them with cable tie. I mounted the brake lever and the disassembled components. I made the necessary adjustments to the height and position of the elements. The manufacturer also added an extra adjustment screw on the levers. If the brake pads wear down a bit, you can tighten it to maintain full and effective braking. I tested the brakes. A very useful life hack here: loosen the caliper's mounts. Then press the brake lever several times in a pulsing manner. After a few times, squeeze the lever and hold it. In this position, tighten the caliper screws. After tightening, release the lever and you're done. If everything was done correctly, the brakes won't rub. Finally, I had to remove the front calipers again due to an issue I mentioned earlier. The lack of an adapter and shorter screws caused the disc edge to almost rub against the caliper housing. I used longer screws from the set and the adapter washers, removing just one of them, not all. In the video below you can see how the duotts C29 brakes at 3 typical speeds: 12, 20 and 25 km per hour. This beast can accelerate up to 55, so you can imagine what the braking distance looks like then. And now, the same bike with me on board and the TANKE TB300 hydraulic brakes. See the difference? Thanks for watching, see you in the next video. If you're interested in these brakes, I've left a link in the video description. Bye!